Our big story this hour is really, truly heartbreaking. Details are emerging on the short life of a beautiful 2-year-old boy who was murdered, police say, by his mother. The foster parents, I misspoke, they were the foster parents of Jordan Belliveau, blame the system. Documents released by Florida child care officials reveal what this little one endured.
Jordan was failed by the system. He was failed by many people who would have protected him but didn't. Promises that were made to us about how he would be protected after his return were broken. Ultimately, we have hope that our painful loss will result in a fundamental re-examination of the entire system, of how foster care works, of the reunification process. Jordan deserves that, and the other children in the system deserve that.
All right, here's what we know. Jordan was with his foster family for almost a year and a half. He had at least one unsupervised visit with his biological parents during which he was injured because officials say his mother, Cherise Stinson, walked into the middle of a fight while holding him in her arms. Jordan was returned to his mother, even though investigators noted in a case file that his parents were, quote, violent and dangerous. 2 months later, police were called to the home because of a fight between Jordan's parents. And our affiliate WFTS in Tampa learned that just a day before Stinson told police her son was missing, a caseworker had visited the home. Stinson now sits in a jail, charged with murdering little Jordan. We've learned that, by the way, she is pregnant with a baby girl. Largo police say she admitted to hitting Jordan so hard it caused the child to have seizures. They say she then took him to a wooded area and left him there, making up that story that he had been kidnapped. John DeGarmo is an expert in parenting and foster care. He has been an adoptive parent for more than 50 children, and I know you, as part of the adoption constellation, are heartbroken by this child who has been failed. And I'm trying to keep myself as collected as I can because this is one of the issues that gets me to my core. The family says, the adopter, the foster family says the system failed him. I think it's important to note Jordan is not alone of falling through the cracks. What is happening in our foster care system, John, that this can happen?
Jordan did fall through the cracks. I've had children living in my own home who have fallen through the cracks. Quite frankly, foster care is in crisis in America. There are more children being placed in foster care. There are not enough foster homes. There are not enough caseworkers. Incidents like this, as tragic as they are, happen sadly too frequently. There are children who are slipping through the cracks in the foster care system, and the foster care system cannot handle it.
And is that one of the reasons why the reunification model, meaning trying to place a child back with either their parents or a family member, is that why that reunification model is being relied upon more?
Well, that's exactly right. The end goal of foster care always is reunification, the reunification of the birth parents and the child, or perhaps a child with some biological family members. Many times that can be a wonderful, wonderful ending, or happy ending, to, if you will, to a sad situation. But there are those cases, like Jordan, where reunification is not in the best interest of the child. I've seen it happen with children in my own home. I've seen it happen across the United States. And now we're seeing it happen to a 2-year-old child who was in care for 17 months of his 2 years. The child who was in a stable and loving environment returned to an environment that was not safe. It was not stable.
John, let me ask you, though, because I want to just highlight the difference from what I understood and what you said. You said the goal is reunification. Isn't the goal to seek permanence, a permanent, safe home and family, a forever home for that child?
No, when a child is placed in foster care, the end goal is to have that child reunified with the birth parents if the birth parents are able to go through the steps, go through the parenting classes, get their life stable, get a stable job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that is at a permanent setting. So that's where the confusion might lie. That reunification hopefully will be a permanent setting. I've adopted 3 children from the foster care system myself where reunification was not possible.
Some of the local reports have blamed the Department of Children and Family Services, DCF, or DCFS, depending on what state you live in.
Right.
However, they've come out with a statement saying it was actually not one of their workers, that it was a subcontractor. But then we found out from the local reporting that the subcontractor was actually contracted by DCFS. Is that part of the problem, the bureaucracy, when the fact is these are little lives. These are precious little lives that have no defense. They need us to advocate for them. They need us to speak for them and protect them.
The word you use, bureaucracy, is absolutely right. Let's look at the state of Florida, where Jordan was from. 25,000 children in the foster care system in Florida. The numbers are spiking, mainly due to the opioid crisis and domestic violence. In fact, what most people don't recognize is 5 million children, roughly every year in the United States of America, are victims or witness of domestic abuse or violence in their homes, like little Jordan. These children are flooding into a foster care system across Florida and across the nation. Caseworkers are overworked. They're overwhelmed, they're under-resourced, they're underpaid, there are not enough homes for these children, and that's how these children slip through the cracks. Because again, the caseworkers and the system is overwhelmed.
It is beyond the pale that this child, that any child, slips through the cracks. Yeah. There were people that loved him and wanted to protect them, and we've got to do better. Damn it, we got to do better. All right, I have to leave this, John. I know we're on the same page, and thank you for the work you're doing, and thank you for fostering and caring for those kids that are close to your heart. We appreciate it.
Thank you for being an advocate.
Absolutely. I will be till my last breath.